It doesn't matter what curriculum you choose. If you are still searching for that perfect fit of curriculum year after year, or worse, month after month, you might be falling into the trap of one of these top 3 homeschooling mistakes. Number 1 is relying on the curriculum to teach your child. Number 2 is expecting your child to connect with the learning here. And number 3 is forgetting about growth and change. Let's get right into this. Number 1, relying on the curriculum to teach your child. Because here's the thing. No one curriculum is going to be able to cover everything perfectly for your child. Every single kind of curriculum has certain sets of strengths and weaknesses. They will put certain emphasis on a type of philosophy, a type of methodology for how children go about learning. And this may not work exactly for your child. And when we start to think about the curriculum teaching our children, rather than the truth that you probably already realize you are your child's teacher, that's when our child starts to feel like they're being put into a box of what they're expected to do or learn or how they need to perform. And this is probably one of the main reasons why you started homeschooling in the first place, so that they could have that flexibility and freedom to really express who they are through the way that they learn. So do not use curriculum as a crutch here. Go ahead and get comfortable with personalizing this experience for your child. The whole point of homeschooling is this personalization, and that is your privilege as the homeschooling teacher. The curriculum is not in charge here. That being said, sometimes at the beginning of our homeschooling journeys, it can be really helpful to see the way curriculum is laid out and modeled for you, so that you understand maybe the processes of how to move through information slowly or through a methodology. So take some time to learn how your child is connecting to or not connecting to certain kinds of curriculum, so that you can then adapt things for the way that you intuitively already know that they need to learn. Number 2, expecting your child to connect with the learning. Now, curriculum must be specialized in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes this is a specialization based on a type of learning style, or maybe a philosophy of learning or a type of methodology. And this might be pretty close to matching up with the way that your child connects to thinking, but it may not. About 20% of people out there are more of an experiential learner. They need to know the big idea of something. They need to know that end result before they can even start to look at the process to get there. But others, they need to have this broken down into bite-sized pieces, just one tiny step at a time, where you incrementally build up to this big idea just from the beginning and following the staircase without jumping to the top right away. Now, if that curriculum doesn't match the way your child needs to learn, that mismatch can cause a lot of frustration and make your child even feel like they can't learn, or they're just not getting it, when in fact, they're connecting to the learning may be the methodology presented in that curriculum. Watch closely, because like I mentioned with number 1, you are their teacher. The curriculum is not something that they need to necessarily align to. Number 3 is about forgetting about growth and change. I mean, your child is not the same as they were last month. They will keep changing month to month. They're not the same learner that they were in September as they are the following June. And we need to keep this in mind, that when we look for curriculum, we are going to either be looking for curriculum that will grow with our child, or look at choosing smaller chunks of curriculum so that we can curate that growth all the way along. Now, there is one problem with curriculum that grows with your child, and that is the curriculum is written down, set in stone, what that pacing looks like. And that pacing might be a little too fast or a little too slow for your child, even at different points in time of their development. So keep that in mind, that you will still need to adapt the pacing by what you see in the maturity of your child. And you will also want to tie in the changing nature of what's going on around you. What kind of perspective shifts are you encountering in your lives? And what kinds of personal situations can you draw in more meaning for the way your child connects these different ideas together? These 3 mistakes are actually really common, and you may have already been making them in your homeschool. So what's the solution here? Well, if you've known me for any length of time, you might already anticipate what I'm going to say next. But if you're new here, welcome. My name is Natalie Burns, and as a certified teacher turned homeschooling mom myself, I am on a mission to empower homeschooling moms with the tools you need to teach critical thinking skills without sacrificing your time from the core subject areas, so you can experience your child taking initiative for their learning. The solution here is to shift your focus to thinking. It's all about thinking. Shift your focus away from what you're doing, what content, what is that copy paste, repeat back to me, do what I tell you kind of response. Shift from there to instead how your child interacts with that information, how they think about it, what's their opinion, how can they apply that information and evaluate and justify what their stance is. It's not about what you do, it's how you do it. When it comes to how to adapt this curriculum, this one super simple shift is going to make a profound difference in the way that your child processes the information that they're taking in. You are now going to be able to stretch your child further from that copy paste, plug and chug, repeat back what I tell you kind of learning that we experienced maybe in our own educational upbringings. And you're going to then be able to stretch your child into how to apply this information, how to analyze and how to evaluate this information so that they can learn how they process and think critically for themselves. The absolute easiest way to draw out this thinking, to create this meaningful conversation and to get those wheels turning in your own child's mind is going to be through asking them open-ended questions that gives them the space to actually start to think about what they think and why they think that. And I've actually set up a free 3-day challenge so that you can learn not just the what around all of this, but the how and how you can actually apply this in your homeschool. So I'll leave a link below so that you can check out that workshop, because this is really the key, and it's so much deeper than I can get into in a quick YouTube video. And I want you to be able to take whatever curriculum you choose, because like I said, it really doesn't matter which one you go with. You can adapt it and you can apply these strategies for drawing out thinking. And any curriculum then is going to work for your child, and you don't need to spend time stressing over the unlimited choices that you have here. One extra tip that I recommend when you are searching for the highest choice of curriculum is to look for one that is really clear on what the big ideas are. The big idea of the entire curriculum, but also lesson by lesson. What's the main point that your child should be getting from each of these lessons? And if it doesn't have a big idea, a main point, then your child might not really get why they're going through it. And so if you would like more information about how to figure out what the big idea is, watch this short and sweet breakdown for how you can create a big idea to ensure that your child gets the point.